its commitment in the heads of agreement signed with our government previous. CTF will have to be released. But guess what? While they will be released from honoring their part of the agreement, guess what else? They would still retain its investment concessions and incentives until the terms are met. I'll put that in your pipe and smoke that. What kind of deal this is? Let me tell you that again. I don't think you got that. All of these things I'm talking about must be met to make sure that this was a part of this new deal with Christie them, that, we can turn on lights, blah, we can give you this, blah, 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 all that, no taxes, don't worry about that cassette, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about none of those things about paying any taxes and all that kind of stuff, no casino license or any kind of other things that we've waived. And in the heads of agreement, this is what it says, what they signed, what Chow Tai Fook Enterprises, CTFE. If these things are not accomplished, that's the BEC, extra, supplemental supply, that is the water and sewage, wastewater treatment thing, that plant, if that's not done, Chow Tai Fook Enterprises would not be obligated to honor its commitment of that heads of agreement signed with the government of the Bahamas. Chow Tai Fook Enterprises will have to be released. In other words, they get a pass. They ain't got to do nothing but that. They will be released from honoring their obligation as they signed off, but they would still be able to retain their investment concessions and incentives until the terms are met. In other words, they get all of our things, our line, whatever it is, they get that, boom. But we can provide these things that are very concerning to them, and now you see the result of it, lights going off and all that. That's because they're trying to generate the capacity. But so, don't mind if they tell you that. You just listen to what I'm telling you. Tell them to call me and say it ain't so. And as a result of that, Bahama, these fellas who are doing this thing now, CTFE, they could walk away from all of this thing that they agree to, And all they do, they still have your concessions. They still have your incentives. Everything that we give, they still got them. Until we have to live up to our side of the obligation to provide these basic infrastructural needs. That's the kind of deal we've been cutting. That's the kind of deal you perhaps will hear about when that deal is unsealed. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. McKinney. How are you doing, sir?
I'm in good shape, thanks.
Hi, Mr. McKinney. The caller's been listening to you for the past year and a half. We know that BPL could not handle the capacity of when Bahama opened. You, Paul Moss, your guest, have spoken about this in depth for years ago. But getting back to the canceling of the deal, I think.
No, let me just make a point there. You've heard about these things that we projected and talked about, right?
Yes.
Now I'm telling you definitively that based upon what we know that they've already done with this deal, guess what is happening? We still don't have nothing that we can rely on that's ours with concessions and incentives that we gave them to boast to this deal to make the Bahama open for the elections of May 10th. And look at the stew that we're in. See, this is now on the other side of it. This is not just what people had believed and speculated or conjecture. This is now the deal. You follow? So I just want to make that point, but you go on.
Yes. I definitely do. This is a perfect pot of stew to cancel it. This it's still, the deal is still young. Bahama just open. Like you said, it's only operating at 25%.
I didn't say that. That's what the minister said.
The minister said it's operating at 25%. Deal is a bad deal. The initial deal was bad. Then the deal that they went back and agreed with was even worse. There's no way the government now should leave that deal in place and leave the Bahamian people out in the cold from water and sewage from BPL, because when you look at it and you weigh it, what we giving up to what we getting it
There you
pales
go.
in comparison.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
We giving up everything and we're not getting anything about a couple
Man,
of low end jobs.
the bottom line is this. Christie them wanted this deal to happen so bad. They just gave them, if the people that say we want 2 pigs, we want 5 horses, and Christie them didn't have it, they'll find them that night to give to them. Anything, any crazy thing with these fellas them said, because they saw that these guys were desperate. So they strung them along and they just got everything they could have gotten. And that is what is so egregious. And that is why Bahamian people ought to be outraged about it. And that is why if this deal is unsealed and we see it in living color or in black and white, it will make you shout for mercy.
Mr. McKinney, Mr. McKinney, this deal has to be canceled. This is laughable. This is laughable. How egregious this deal is to the Bahamas and the Bahamian people. This has to be canceled. There's no other way around it. It has to be canceled, sir.
I appreciate your call. Thank you kindly. All right. So I think that you guys may be back up and running, eh? In other parts of the public, I don't know. I got to make a call down to BPL and see what's going on, and see if they can give me some kind of something. I know they sent out a press release today. I didn't even bother to read it, to be honest with you. When I saw it, I said, boy, I ain't got time to read this one right now, even though I'm going on the air. I'm going to be talking about Bahama today. I'll just mention BPL because of this thing that I know they have to do. But, this is ridiculous. 3 and 4 times a day now in the afternoon. And that's because now the night is wearing on and other things have to happen down at that Mecca Resort. You take my word for it. I stand on that. And as a result of it, they can't handle it. These guys can't handle it. It's just, cheaper you go and find the right fella from BEC to get it together. If you can't find them, go get them. Recall them. Recall every last one. Chicken, Thompson, and all of them. Recall them so they can fix things. But I can say that, and I'm being very responsible when I say that. I know the fellas. I know the BEC fellas. And I know a lot of them retired because, they took the packages because, some new kids were in town, BPL, and nobody really could understand what in the devil they're doing. There's still a mystery to us. And this is now another hurricane season, and they ain't ready. You think they're ready? It's June. June 1st, the hurricane season started. It goes until November. You know how long that is from now? And this what we got to deal with. Lord have mercy. We ain't deserve it. We ain't deserve it. I've got many, many text messages. Let me see if I can get through some of these. We call upon the Prime Minister and the People's Government to get rid of the managers of Bahama and the Tourism Minister Diagla to get CTFE off our property. There will be more trouble than they're worth, is what this person says. It seems that as if the previous government put the country of the Bahamas in the lion's mouth, so to speak. The Christie government operated very silly. Get CTFE out of this country. In Jesus' name, I'm going into my Psalms for them. I rebuke CTFE and all members of the Christie government. Strong stuff from people who, just are now waking up to what has actually been the case. Tax write-offs and the rest of it. You had some idea of it. Yeah, we talked about it. Now you're beginning to live that reality. See, that's the difference. Hearing it is one thing, and then actually feeling it now, and it's a reality, and everybody feels it. Because see, what is happening out there, out west, is now happening in your house, right where you are right now in Baintown, right there in Fox Hill, right there in South Beach. And a friend of mine called me and sent me a WhatsApp today about every place that he went today to make sure that this was an island-wide blackout. And it was. So don't let them tell you no fool. And he went everywhere driving around, do the checks. Physically, not calling, physically. And everybody say, yeah, man, it's hot. And they find it, and they outside, their doors wide open, all kind of thing. This is where we have come. This is the deals that were made with people and companies like BPL. Who, are they up to the task? I mean, forget about the fact that we paid nearly $1 million to get a report. That never came. Well, okay, fine. But can they do the job? Anyway, any more text messages here? This person says, cancel and delete Bahama deal forthwith. The BPL Power Secure deal need to also be made public. BPL need to be chased out of this town ASAP. Tired of this foolishness. Bahama needs their own personal electrical generation system. And this person also goes on to say, what happened? Let me just move this for a second. Okay. It says, we need to see that BPL business plan. And that's what I was just talking about just now. The nearly $1 million, I think it was, that was spent. Never saw it. And now that the old government is gone, maybe there's no reason to show it, unless Minutes insists. This person says, Mr. Steve, are you joking? We got swing. Who made that deal? Cancel now, says that person. Another one says, Steve, who the hell would negotiate such a deal? He's talking about this part that says, should the government not honor its part of the agreement, or should the people at BPL not provide the kind of electricity capacity, and the people at Water and Sewage not provide what they need for the water treatment thing as a part of the heads of agreement with Bahama and namely CTFE, Chow Tai Fook Enterprises, then it means that Chow Tai Enterprises would not be obligated to honor its commitments and the heads of agreement signed with the government. CTF will have to be released from this heads of agreement, but would still retain its investment concessions under this term. You can imagine that. They leave and they don't have to do nothing for it, but they still will hold on to these assets that we have been bragging about all this time. My. The fella says, Steve, who the hell would make such a deal? I guess you got to ask it to Christie now. This is why I started the show today, by saying that that Christie may be feeling a little overwhelmed and feeling dread, it may be a little fear at this particular time. Because time longer than rope, and the truth be told, it's coming, it ain't going. I start out by saying there's a saying that goes out of sight, out of mind. If only that were true for former Prime Minister Perry Gladstone Christie. Mr. Christie may be out of sight these days, but he's not out of mind, as it were. In fact, the former PLP leader must now be in dread these days because it appears that the Minutes administration is about to make a gallant effort to have the Bahama deal unsealed any day now. And the word is that in short order, Mr. Christie's handling of the matter could be exposed and Christie found out like never before. And I ask you the question today, should this deal be canceled? Should we proceed with this deal? Should we just pack up our Georgie bundle and don't worry about it, pick up our bed and walk, do what we have to do and live with it? Or should we just stop, review, and cancel and get rid of this and renegotiate? You tell me. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, good evening, Mr. McGinney.
Hi there, Reconciler.
Yeah, pretty good, man. Great.
Wonderful.
Enjoying the show as usual.
Mm-hmm.
We've been having problems with our electricity now for weeks, but it should go on mostly in the night, or in the evening, late evening, or deep in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be finding the light off. But now this thing is becoming like
it's a nuisance.
Island wide, like in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the light went off here about at midday, and it was off for several hours. Well, so I was saying, and many others were saying for a long time, BPL is just not up to the task. The former government, they brought in this secret deal with this company, and they sold it to another company without. it's just like it's a bunch of foolishness and corrupt actions happening at the disadvantage of the Bahamian people. All of these things must be exposed. Some things got to be changed. You agree with that at the beginning?
Yes, a lot of things. That's why, like I said, I don't envy Minnis and them. They have a momentous task, a gigantic task. They this is a real big thing that they have to deal with, and you've got to pray for them and pray for strength.
I saw something on social media a week or so ago. They were saying BPL has more than the capacity and blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, anybody can write propaganda. I mean, see, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah,
show me what you got.
But half a grain of salt, not even a whole grain. But it's evident that they're not ready, they're not prepared. Matter of fact, to me, they're absolutely useless. Now, another thing, Mr. McKinney, Bahama, that deal must be exposed. I saw the story yesterday with Fred Smith. He was saying that it should have been dealt with by now, or began to be dealt with by now. You saw the story that got in?
Well, they're dealing with it now because, after all, the Attorney General is moving expeditiously to see how quickly he can get things done. He has already thrown the nice little lob across to the Chow Tai Fook Enterprise people and say, look, Mr. Graham Davis, if you're interested, we would like to talk about this. And if you are wanting to, we'll sit down in a decent manner and discuss it. If you don't want to, we're going to have to go on behalf of the Bahamian people and find out by making sure we can put a petition before the courts and make it happen.
I think that's the way to go. And see, the thing is, the deal was never closed. If a deal is not closed, that is a technicality in law. If anybody know but law.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's
it's not finalized,
but if there's goodwill,
it is not a done deal.
Yeah, but you see, it may not be a done deal, but there's a deal on the table, and of course, there are all kinds of things that you do. There's a letter of intent. There's a recommendation of intent. There's a plan to do things as you say they would be, and that is also considered a deal in the court of law.
See, Mr. McKinney.
Yeah.
So if the government have any lawyer who with their sword, just a halfway lawyer, they could win that hands down, because that's the technicality to the advantage of the government right now. Because in my mind, the deal is not final. Which, I take in consideration what you're saying. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But looking at the bigger picture now, in my personal view, you want to hear my views about this thing, Mr. McKinney?
If you're quick.
I believe that this company should be nationalized. That's my view. That's what I always believe. After I see a bunch of crookedness and corruption the former government was carrying on with, I believe that they need to nationalize this thing. Why? Because the Bahamian people has thousands of acres in that equity. Whether the people want to acknowledge it or not, that is Bahamian land. That's a major stake we have in that operation. So, if they don't come up and, meet their part of the deal and meet their obligations, I believe the government has a right to nationalize it.
I hear you. I'm going to put that on the table and see what people think. Thanks for your call, Reconciler. I'm not so sure that Minnis and those want to go in that direction, because there's also international best practices, and there's also the purview of the people elsewhere in the financial world, and those who would see that as a direct kind of like takeover of something that should not have been in a category for takeover like that. And that has repercussions. I believe I stand to be corrected, but I do believe from a logical point of view that would have serious repercussions and consequences if the government move along those lines. Now, the government may be left with no other choice when they discover the things that they may discover in the not too distant future, once Mr. Bethel is able, as the Attorney General, to have the matter looked into and pursue the matter through a court. You see, he can't just do it in and of himself, and the government can't do it, because governments are, the word is not governments, but governments are continuous. But my new word that I've gotten now from my good friend Danny, governments are contiguous. And as a result of that, it means then that there are things that are binding and holding. And all of these things is what we need to take a look at. But that's not for me to decide. That's for the AG and those who are in the judiciary to take a look, see at it. But I do believe that the Bahamian people should not be used as a kind of a mat, doormat, where you just wipe your feet off and walk all over them, because that's what has happened under the previous administration. I want them to call me, because I stand to be corrected. I see Glennis Hannah Martin has been jumping up in the House of Assembly on every issue that has happened. The rest of the PLPs who were a part of the deal, like Jerome Fitzgerald, and all of them who were a part of this thing, including Mr. Christie, including Brave Davis, you can also call talk radio shows. You can call and put us on the right path if we are incorrect. If we don't know what we're talking about, like you all were saying during the run-up to the election, call us and stoke us, because we know what we're talking about. We've got the information, and we are waiting to see you all come around this table and tell us that we don't know what we are saying. We had been saying it from day one. We're saying it today. Something fishy had happened, and we all know that the guilty parties are those persons who are trying to win a general election. Simple as that. And I can't blame them for trying to win a general election, because anybody should try to win. But the point is, what do you give up? What do you give up to make that happen? How far do you go? Are there no rules? What all can you throw under the bus or throw in the path of these other guys who were trying to collect everything they could? If they could have collected the whole Bahamas, they would have. Ooh, did I say that? I hope that's not the case. I hope they weren't trying to collect the whole Bahamas, lock, stock, and barrel. I hope there's no extra land anywhere inside these. Oh, my goodness. Don't go there. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you? Are you there, hard copy?
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. McKinney.
Good evening to you. Turn your radio down, please.
Okay.
Yeah, turn it down. Talk with me. I'm listening to what you have to say. Yes.
Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you.
You know, this election, I said, this election really belongs to God. All glory and honor belongs to God. God is so great. He removed them and he buried the whole tribe. And this is why I say congratulations to Dr. Minitz and his crew and the words that he spoke. I hope he carry them out and do exactly as he's supposed to do. Because this Bahamas, I can say, is finished. We don't have no money and the people leave us broke. I mean, what in the world? You hate the Bahamian that much? Cost you to hate the Bahamas like that?
I don't think that they hate the Bahamas. I think that they were desperately trying to keep the Bahamas for themselves from a political point of view, and they were not thinking straight. When you got a group of people who are all disillusioned and all desperate, that's a bad mix. That's toxic. Anything could happen in that particular mix.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing what happens with Joneses. When Joneses get on their jonesing spell, they will do all kind of unspeakable things to satisfy that urge and that craving to hit. You know that, right?
Okay, and like you said, cancel the whole deal.
Yeah.
And start something new.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for your call. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's that kind of a situation. I want to run to the break and pay a bill or two. I've got lots of text messages there. And I've got a sound bite that you need to hear from Christie in just a minute. And it goes back to the time when Christie was just beating his chest. Boom, 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 boom. Here I am in the house, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that to make sure that I can get Bahama going, and we're going to do it, and it's going to be the biggest thing, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And now come to find out that the things that he gave up, cheaper you had gone and tried to buy the whole company. The kind of monies we gave up, we might as well buy the company. It's $400 million of monies that we would have earned. I guess at that time they had all our VAT money, so that thing was that $9. Anytime a fella got like $1 billion for something dollars, $1.5 billion or $1.2 billion, when you come at $400 million, yeah, you ain't too particular. You're a big shot. This is hard copy. We're back in just a minute.
Ah, it tastes so good. Fresh, clear, ultra pure, Available at your neighborhood depot and nearest store. Echo Water, premium distilled. Don't be surprised. It comes in just your size. 20 ounces, 1 and 5 gallons, and 1.5 liters. Echo Water, just what the body needs.
This is your life. Life is a song, sing it. Life is a challenge, win it. This is your life. This is your life.
With host Dr. Sir Kevin King, where we discuss health, happiness, wealth, and how to live a success-filled life.
This is your life.
Join me on Mondays and Wednesdays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. on Peace 107.5 FM.
Well, what in the world you got in these suitcases you told in the superwash?
Rachel come home with this cat. It's a pretty cat now. But he ain't getting toilet things down park yet.
So he going on the rug?
On the rug? I wish it was only the rug. Homeboy baptized our couch with some of that territory marking spray what they just use.
Well, why don't you get one janitorial service to come in and clean rather than carrying all these cushions to the wash house?
I do that. Now it smell like pine-scented parking lot after Junkanoo. So these going to superwash.
That cat pee ain't no match with them big boys now, I can tell you that.
You got that right. And when I get them dry, they're going straight to the composter for plastic covering.
I don't blame you, girl. But what you gonna do with the cat?
He going obedient training where he gonna learn how to use the toilet.
You mean the litter box?
No. I mean the toilet. He gonna learn how to doggone use that toilet or he could be in timeout all day.
Hey, Superwash. They washes your presses, it cleans you, and entertains you 24/7.
Hi all, Steve McKinney here to remind you that you don't have to spend big bucks to advertise or promote your products, services, or business. Call the McKinney Media Group Limited today and let the professionals fix you up a package, affordable and effective and guaranteed to grow your business. Advertise like the big boys at a fraction of the cost. Call the McKinney Media Group at 325-0235 or 325-0236. The McKinney Media Group, number 17 Gibbs Lane, Fort Charlotte. We make it our business to help you achieve success in your business.
During hurricanes or flooding, the water table would be affected because of the contaminants on the ground. It is not healthy and safe.
The Water and Sewage Corporation is continuing its offer of 50% off sign-up services for residents in New Providence and the Family Islands. Offer valid for a limited time only. Certain restrictions apply. The Water and Sewage Corporation. Committed to growth, committed to quality.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators, and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them on 242-356-0249.
Grammy, can we go now?
As soon as I pay the bill, sweetie.
But you said you'd take me to the park today.
As soon as I pay the bill.
Grammy, why don't you sign up for the e-notification so you can see and pay your bill online?
Sign up for e-notifications. Receive your bills through email, view, print, and pay your bills online, leaving time for what matters. Sign up within the next 3 months and receive $10 off your next bill. The Water and Sewage Corporation. Committed to growth, committed to quality.
I enjoy hard copy. I just love it, the information. It's informative, relevant, and timely. I love it.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Hard Copy on this Thursday. We hope that you're having fun wherever you are. If you are on New Providence and you're in the dark, hey, not to worry about it. The lights may come back on this evening. And if it doesn't, I suppose you have more fodder to deal with BPL. They need to work around the clock to get it right. I understand that. I want to take some calls on the telephone line. 325-0235 is how you can call me this evening on Hot Copy. And I know you've got many troubles and concerns and problems, and we've got some big concerns and problems too, but we're just trying to see how best we can assist in those who may be understanding or not understanding what the people want. And this is the people's time. The people want some stuff done, and maybe it is time for some things to be reviewed, canceled. Maybe it's a time for the things to be looked at and then scrutinized and then renegotiated. And this includes not only Bahama, but this whole thing with BPL. This person tells me on text that BPL is another curse on the Bahamas. It's another agreement that this government should cancel right now at this time and place. It's how TikTok people are. And a lot of TikTok people are out there. Could you imagine the businessmen who are losing money because of it? And these are just perhaps basically residents who have a big issue about it. Bahamians don't want, this person says, Bahamians don't want the government to own hotels again. They have done very poorly in the past. Remember, the hotels on Cable Beach, the government don't need the ownership of Bahama when somebody talked about nationalizing it, you see, or any other hotel. This person says the government should put Bahama on a dinghy boat and send it to Little Agua. If only that were possible, right? Hard Copy, how you?
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Okay, all is well, sir.
Turner here.
Turner, how you doing?
I'm good.
What plans you got in this case? Because this really is a worst case scenario kind of thing. I don't know what's going to happen, but something has got to give. There's a lot of money that's been down the drain in this whole Bahama thing, and a lot more monies that may be going down the drain that we have no knowledge of until they unseal the deal.
Well, here's my thinking on this. I don't believe Bahama was sold to begin with.
Okay.
That whole fine fair that they had the other day about grand or soft opening, I believe that was more or less open house.
You mean they got swing?
I think that was an open house, for investors to come in and look and see and test the building and all that. It was not a soft opening. And to have I think it's Hyatt that's open now.
Yep.
Again, I don't think that's money that the Hyatt is actually using to run the place right now. I think that's money that Bank put aside to make it seem like something's going on.
I see.
So they can have an investor come in and say, okay, yeah, there's something going on now. We can actually come in and buy it.
Yeah, they could see the potential and they could sell it off.
It's so confusing right now with everything that's going on. And again, there's no documentation. There's no information. Nothing we know about the whole.
You're right about it. There've been all kind of layers of different companies that have been holding in this thing. All kind of different companies. I never seen so many different companies, and I got to get my list out to tell you how much hands this thing has passed through with internal different companies, and we don't know who owns what.
Exactly, and I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of the money that they've spent over the past year and a half has been public funds. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me either.
But another thing, though, listen to Jeff Lloyd today. I mean, how could anyone budget a building for $1 million to renovate it, the old Bahamas Academy building? 2 years later, they're still working on it, and now the budget is $25 million. And then the government doesn't even own the property?
Well, this is the kind of foolishness they've been doing. We've been talking about that for years. You know it. I mean, Turner, you know that our idea, one of them is that, you got to buy this building, you invest, you pay them good for it. If you pay $20 million for it, fine. You invest in it so that when you own it in the long run, it will pay off itself for you. It may sound exorbitant that you have to pay $20 million for something today, but these guys have bought these things. They don't own it. They got a rent to renovate, and they're spending millions of dollars on renovation. It is ridiculous. We just don't have no sense.
But I mean, that's the largest percentage of cost overruns I've ever heard of. $1 million to $25 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the estimates.
The finance building across from the police bar.
Yeah.
That they renovated for
$900,000 or something.
It was $100,000.
900.
$900,000, right?
Yeah.
But then they're renting the place for $700,000 a year.
Yeah.
Someone.
Oh boy.
I understand them making all these announcements and pointing all the fingers and all that, right? About who's getting what. But who's actually going to jail after all this?
Yeah, nobody wants to go to jail, but everybody guilty.
This misappropriation has to stop. I mean, the only way it'll stop if someone goes to jail.
Yeah.
But I like it, listen.
We'll see. Thanks for your call. So you had the China XM Bank. You had all of these construction companies and the economic grouping that is a part of the deal. All kind of people was in this thing. I am almost forgetting who all they were now because I try to put that far behind me. But as a journalist, we have to be able to remember these things or to make a note of it. And one such fellow who's going to help us make a note of it now is Perry Gladstone Christie, who is in fact here on a soundbite that I have with Perry Gladstone Christie. And this was from the time that they were in the House of Assembly beating on them desks and drumming on them on those desks. And of course, Gladys Hannah Martin was right there among them, drumming on them desks at all the fantastic and fabulous things that they were supposed to be doing with this Bahama deal. And when Chow Tai Fook Enterprises entered the fray and all that, I mean, everything they were talking about turns out to be nothing but just a big, big, fat lie. That's what is actually happening. When you look through this, when you peel through the layers of it. Anyhow, let me don't preempt Christie. But this is what Christie said. If you remember this from back in the House.
Mr. Speaker, the requirements of the unsecured Bahamian creditors will also be considered during the remobilization. Yes, sir. And Mr. Speaker, what I'm so happy about, I'm continuing with my statement, please. EXIM, CSEC, and CCA Bahamas will work closely with the Bahamian government with a view to seeing the Bahama Resort project through to 100% completion so that Bahama can achieve its true purpose, providing thousands of high quality jobs to the Bahamian people and an ongoing economic boom to the Bahamas. The Bahamian government is fully committed. The Bahamian government is fully committed to provide all necessary assistance and cooperation required for the early completion.
You hear what he said? All necessary.
I'm
they will provide. The Bahamian government.
Mr. Speaker,
members. Christie was prepared to put it all on the line.
Mr. Speaker, this represents the sum total of it.
Yeah, up there drumming on the desk. This is how elated they are. They got something done. This is going to be the election ticket. Get up. Yeah, Gladys in the background. Oh, sweet it! How sweet it is. The speaker had to call for order. He had to actually call for order.
Members.
Yeah, anyhow, come back. I mean, this is what happened on that day when Christie was supposed to be going back to the House and reporting that all them things with Steve them talking about ain't no true. And this is what they're really doing. And you heard him go to a great extent to say that, look, what we are doing is we're going to do everything in our purview, everything under our power to make sure that this thing opens on time. And that was this main thrust. That's when he turned on the rocket burners, because he wanted to make sure that whatever they were going to do was going to happen. And so you saw there that obviously they did some things like wave that. Don't wave with them tax. They did all those kinds of things. And so it's left now to Minnis. I'm going to nickname Minnis today. He's the cleanup man. Minnis is going to have to do a lot of cleaning up. Those boys really did a lot of damage. You haven't seen the rest of it yet. You haven't seen the start of it yet, really. And so Minnis is now the cleanup man. He's gonna have, that's why he ain't taking a portfolio, I understand. He's peeping and digging and probing and looking and scrutinizing, and he's saying, we got to deal with this thing. That's a full-time job he got. While the other fellas may go home and get a little sleep at the night, Minnis could have to be up looking through layers and layers of all these things, reading the layers and layers of documents that these fellas have did. It's a tall order. I don't envy Minnis, But I sure don't want Beam in this particular case. A lot of work. All right. This person say, laugh out loud. Behind my boy Steve, we ain't seen nothing yet. He's laughing out loud. It's called padding, my dear. Boy, turn up padding those contracts, making sure. And then this person says, them Final Four should have lost their seat too. Oh my gosh. He's talking about Glennis and Brave and Picewell and Chester Cooper. This fella is now saying that all of them should have lost their seat because they can defend some of these things, you know. You know that, right? They can defend some of these things. And if I was Glennis, I'd sit down on a lot of these things because, you know, we know that she's a decent lady. That's my girl, Glennis. Decent lady. You know, she just feels compelled to try to defend the cause because was Brave Davis in the house today, by the way? I was listening to it on radio, you see. I was in the barbershop listening to the broadcast from the House of Assembly on the radio. So I don't know if I saw Brave or Brave was there. I didn't hear him. And I figured with Glennis up there talking so much and trying to defend the cause, I figured Picewell wasn't there either. Were they there? But I know Chester isn't the kind of fellow who is going to get bent out of shape on these things. So I know Chester probably was there, but he wasn't saying anything much. But Brave could have been there. I mean, the fella from Fort Charlotte was just really antagonistic. What was that line he said today in the House of Assembly? He says, oh, let me just warn you, dear Glennis. He says, what you're looking at now in Fort Charlotte as the new member of Parliament for Fort Charlotte, you're looking at Andre Rollins 2.0. In other words, you think Rollins gave you all hell. You think Rollins put it on y'all. You all ain't seen it yet. Don't mess with me. That's what Fort Charlotte today, Mark Humes said to Glennis in the house, where she just kept getting up and making noise about this and that. And she had some good points. But then, of course, I suppose, and with the greatest respect to my lady, she was being emotional about a lot of things. She just didn't like how it sounded. But that's just life. It's hard to be in opposition, you know. Fellas don't say all kind of things, but you make you feel dead bad. And they was pulling no punches today. Yeah. So what are your thoughts, friends? I mean, you know, you can't slunk on me now. You can't slunk on me and tell me that you're not so sure what the government of the Bahamas should do. The government of the Bahamas, should they now cancel this contract? Or do you need more information? And if they should cancel it, what's taking them long? Oh, they have to wait for the unsealing. I see, okay. And are you of the mindset that they should just cancel? Let me go back to my text and read all my messages here. Oh my goodness, so many of them. Where do I start from? This person says, the sinister thing about padding contracts is that the individuals who actually do the work get the least amount of money. The politicians who allot the contract gets the lion's share. And this person says, okay, this person's around me because I said that we ain't reading that today. Not this one, not about the problems with BEC and the Minky Isaacs and all that either. Listen, friend, you say I'm joking? Okay, fine. We'll talk later, and I'll see what your points are. But I'm talking about a different thing today. That's all I'm saying. It's a different topic, and we'll get to that at some other time. This person says, Glennis Hannah Martin seemed like a fanatic or someone intoxicated with a substance that the many times she jumped up in the House of Assembly today. It is sad that Mrs. Hannah Martin have resorted to this kind of behavior. She ain't. Well, you know, she's doing her job. She's now, she's not the opposition leader, but she is just like the opposition leader. Is there such a thing as the opposition co-deputy leader? Because Brave wasn't saying nothing. If Brave was in the house today, I don't know. I didn't see it on TV. I heard it on radio, as I said. And so Brave was in the house today. You couldn't tell because, Glennis was on the floor. She started up on so many points of order and, that kind of thing. And I guess she thought she was doing her job. Hi, Steve. How can the Ministry of Education sign a construction agreement 3 years ago for $1 million for the old Bahamas Academy building, and now the construction costs over $25 million? On top of that, sign a 5-year lease after the completion. That's a conundrum. The great Sir Randall Fox once upon a time told Pinling, man, that sounds like a conundrum wrapped up in the puzzle. No, if I don't laugh at these, I'll cry because, the truth be told, it's asinine. There's no such thing that should happen like that. But you see, the kind of wheeling and dealing and stuff that happened in the previous administration, why would you expect anything different? And Jerome Fitzgerald was the Minister of Education at the time. Why would you not understand who the players were at the time? Don't you remember that it was him who was trying to hustle some money out of Sarkis's Marillion? I mean, I'm not blaming him for anything that he may believe that I'm saying that he tried to do this, but when you have a characteristic flaw, or I suppose when people can judge your character by the way that you present yourself, and then they hear all these different things that have been happening from Ruber's oil spill to this thing and the next thing, and then you're asking people for money, and then you had some serious problems on the personal note, which everybody knows about now because of the Punch. Punch tell everybody about it. Punch tell everybody about how this fella built in a new house now and lost the old house and all. When you have these things, the general public who read the Punch, who listen to hard copy, who knows what is happening, they're not fooled. They know that there's a money crisis that was happening. And so one can figure out, they can extrapolate from all those things that, boy, the guy was having a rough time, but that's why you hear people, they talk about padding and all that kind of stuff. Padding, Padding. Because they figure somebody can make some money off this on the backs of the Bahamian people. The more we talk about these things, it is evident to me that a serious, thorough investigation is needed in this country. That's what it is. That's what's evident to me. A serious investigation. Anyway, this person say, man, Brave can't talk. He trying to cover his tail with Kid Island. With the Kid Island cleaning deals. 40 million. Buy down. PMH ain't cost that much. See, these are people in the body politic who understand what is happening, Anyway. The truth hurts. Miss Hannah Martin was just, Gladys Hannah Martin was just feeling the pain today, so she had to scream out loud over and over. That's all was happening. So it's because she was feeling the pain of truth. And boy, I don't know if they realize who Mark Humes is. He's a unionist, he's a lecturer at the COB, former, and he has a job to do. And there's a tradition to keep up in Fort Charlotte because, if you notice when Rollins was inside there from Fort Charlotte, there was a particular thing that happened. There's a standard. Fort Charlotte ain't no easy player. So even though some people may be thinking that Mark Humes is a light fella, I don't know. I mean, there's a standard that he has to maintain. And the standard is that he has already told you and declared today, if you think you're bad, don't play bad, because what you see here in Mark Humes, he said, this is Fort Charlotte, Andre Rollins 2.0. In other words, he has improved upon all the shenanigans that Rollins would have brought to the House of Assembly and stand the House of Assembly on its feet. So you've been warned. That's the bottom line. Anyway, 325-023516. Oh, we almost finished. You can still call me. I want to hear from you. Is anybody going to tell me that Minutes and Those should just cancel? Is anybody going to tell me that Minutes and Those on this Bahama deal, especially with this unsealed situation, should they just, I suppose now, follow through with the deal and just leave it be since it's already happened? Can it really be that wrong now since it's already happened? Wait, stop it. $400 million in taxes just whittled away. And right now, Minister could use that. And Christie them had no idea that they were going to have to find a way to put that back. The government coming in now has had to borrow $722 million. $722 million. And that is to pay the bills that Christie them say, waive that. And you ain't gonna do nothing about it? What are your thoughts? Yeah. Steve, do you think members of the former government have had mirrors, have or had mirrors in their homes? Yeah, they got mirrors in their homes. But when they look in the mirrors, in many cases, they say, who that is? They looking at themselves, they say, that's me or that's you? Or maybe they look in the mirror and they say, one for me, one for you. Two different people in the room, especially if they're counting money. A serious thing. Anyway. Mr. McKinney, I would like that deal canceled right away, please. Can we not deal with the Chinese people going forward, please? Can you have that done? Well, maybe we can talk about it. And Minister and them going to have to do it if they're up to it. Yeah. Anyway, let me read. That's a lot of text messages I've got. Oh, my goodness. I know I'm not going to be able to read all these. Somebody's calling me. That's good. I'm tired of talking right now for the day. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello, Steve. How are you doing?
Very good, thanks.
That's good. That's good, Steve. What they need to do is cancel these deals that the PLP had fallen through before the election. You know what they really need to do, Steve? The first 4 years, they need to just do what they need to do in order to get things right. And the last year, when it's coming for the election, they don't need to pass no deal. They don't need to cut no deal. They don't need to hire nobody within that year. That's what the government needs to start doing. Okay? Because right now, when you see the PLP was in power for the last 4 years, the only thing they was doing, basically, was just putting people on the job, just making deals, doing these things, and you don't even know if you will be reelected again.
Yeah, you know, Brave Davis got up in the House of Assembly and told the people that, you know, it is a lie that the PLP hired 6,500 people just before the elections. I knew that the numbers were somewhere around 4,500, but when I heard, I can't remember who it was, but some member of parliament now on the present government side said 6,500. I say, wow, that is serious. But Brave Davis says it's not true. But I mean, you know, the truth be told, they did hire a lot of people.
Guys, I believe. Okay, to be honest with you, I don't believe nothing what comes out there from Perry Christie goes straight down to the junior minister. You can hire all these people before the election. You're not even too sure if you could be reelected. They need to freeze all these things within that year, okay, before the election. They don't need to hire nobody. They don't need to sign no contract within that year, because that's where we could have some Bahamians save some money, and we could put some people to work instead of just going making these contracts, and you're not too sure you're going to get back in.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what you're saying.
I'm saying, Steve, that's what they need to do. And Miss Anna, she's making all this noise and talking foolishness when they should have been doing what they supposed to do when they was there. Now they're on the opposite side. Now she wrong. You're trying to big herself up. All of them should have lost before. See, I could talk to you later, Steve. Thanks.
Minnis said the other day that when he was addressing the business community, the Employees Confederation, and of course the Chamber of Commerce, he said at that time, look, you got to start saving some money. The Bahamians need to save. He was advocating that. That's a good idea, because really he is trying to make sure that we can grow the bottom line as regular everyday citizens. He obviously saved in his lifetime, saved a whole lot, and as a result of saving, he has accumulated good wealth and has done well for himself as a businessman. And everybody need to be putting something aside, just as a regular person or as a businessman. Take some monies out of the business and put it in an escrow account. Put some aside, because you don't never know where things going to be. And not that you're saving to become a millionaire, because, you know, some of us don't have the ambition to be a millionaire, but we just want to have a good, comfortable thing, good, comfortable life with the, you know, bare essentials. And that's a good, comfortable life these days, just the bare essentials. There's no time to try to live extravagantly or live above your means. But Minister's saying you got to save some more money. We got to get into the culture of saving so that the future generations of Bahamians can have some money. I mentioned that because the gentleman talked about saving and how important it is. And that's what Minister said. Now, this person has texted me and said, all those former politicians who were in Bahama negotiations, all of them should have their pensions canceled along with the deal. But you all ain't easy. You mean you can cancel Jerome Fitzgerald pension? You mean you can cancel Allison Maynard Gibson pension and Christie pension? You can cancel that? This person says, hi, Steve. The clip you played really disturbed me. To now hear the true meaning behind Christie's words means that the PLP knew the deal would put the Bahamian people at a grave economic disadvantage in light of the country's current adverse economic plight. The FNM has now canceled this deal once the records are unsealed by the courts. If the FNM does not fight to correct this Bahama deal, the Bahamian people will hold them responsible. They are in charge now, so they better get it right. And this person was edified by the clip that I played just now from the archives with Christie and them drumming on the desk and Gladys Hahn in the background. I don't know if you could hear it clear, but he's right there. Yeah, you know. See, the whole thing is they thought that they had it made in the shade. And Christie in that same sound clip actually said something like this gentleman picked it up, that they would do anything and everything to make this thing happen. That's what Christie said. We have the tape. We just played it. In the essence of time, we won't play it again, but it's there. And that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons why I like to go back to the facts, not what somebody tell me. And that's why I dare those who are out there in the public, PLP, FNM, or whoever, to call and tell me it ain't so we can read some more documents for you. Because you know, I knew about the deal. You know I knew. I told you about it. You remember that V. Alfred Gray called me and told me how I get that letter from Christie. And I said, what are you talking about? I didn't get any letter that was sent to Christie. My sources told me what was happening. He said, you got to have had that letter, Steve. That's what he told me privately. You didn't hear that part on the radio. But privately, he called me and said, you must have the letter because you saying these things. So I say to him, you mean I saying these things? That is to say that you know I talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You remember when Gray came on the radio? I have that too. When V. Alfred Gray came on the radio and talked about how he knew it was happening and not a doggone thing like that happened and this and the next thing, when I was staying with what the people had put in the letter for the 500 work permits and all that. I mean, citizenship and all the cancellations of value-added tax. You remember this? I told you this, right? Value-added tax and casino licenses and casino tax and all that. Gray tried to defend that. But he got stoked on that one. We still have the tape. Just for good, you know, in case we have to play it again. It's right there. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, are you there? Okay, I've got to move on. Thank you very much. This person says, hi, Steve. Where's it now? Hi, Steve. The government must unseal the deal and speak truth to the people. We were sold out by the PLP. How much did they benefit from the deal? I pray the FNM will do what is right by the people. Take our land back. Make it right. The government needs to understand that our land is sacred. It must not be in the hands of foreigners. BEC and BTC need to be taken back. They are just like everyone else who comes here, only to get rich on the backs of the Bahamian people and pull up stake and leave workers high and dry or resell the company to the highest bidder. Shame on the PLP. That's from a very loving, Christian, responsible lady, and I respect her views. And of course, there are people who are just can't believe this thing. Hi, Steve. I'm very happy that Mr. Bell is going to expose those corrupt politicians because they only care about themselves. They have no love for the Bahamian people, especially, and she called all these names. She said, especially Shane and Jerome and Gray and Maynard. She says, they're all for me babies. Well, that's how people feel about it. People are talking, boy. All those persons, all these persons who the government believe have done wrong and have accumulated funds illegally, whatever the case is, from top to bottom, as long as they find something on these people, freeze their accounts. Those who have accounts in other countries work with that country's government to have those accounts frozen. They did for the drug dealers. We all know the crooks have accounted. We all know the crooks have accounts in other people's name. Do the investigations and freeze every last one, starting with Christie and Davis and the rest. Something has to be done to recoup the monies lost by this country. That's a text sender. That's a WhatsApp sender. Send that to me just now about these things. And hi, Steve. This person sent me a nice, I see it now, okay. Prosecution, former corrupt government officials. And this person says I must read this because it's very interesting read. I appreciate it, there. Thank you very much. That's a clip of kind of link that she sent to me. And people are still complaining with their current being off. I guess my current is off too when I get off from here tonight when I got to go home to my little house down the road. I ain't got no generator down there. I only got generator up here. You know, we poor people, we can't afford to be losing money like that. So I understand it quite well when people say what they say. Yeah. Anyway, my time is coming on. I think I better call it a day. I do feel a little tired today. That's because I've been doing a lot of talking and the frustrations of all these things that have been happening while we're on the air. It's just frustrating. You don't know about them, but we feel them and we understand and we know that something has got to give. Something has got to give, dear Brother Menace. Something has got to give. We pray daily for you, sir. And we know that it's not an easy job. We know it's a task. And we pray for your well-being and your diligence to pursue what has to be pursued. And for God's blessings and guidance and protection on your life. So that, in fact, you can do the job that you've been chosen at this time to do. We say go and do it on behalf of the Bahamian people. And once you keep that before you, lean not under your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, the Creator, and he shall direct your path. Amen? Amen. Let's go home, Steve. Hard Copy has been brought to you by the people who make it happen. Bank of the Bahamas, Sapodilla, West Bay on for Father's Day celebration in Nassau Village. This weekend with House of Mutri on Saturday all day long from 4 o'clock. Assemblies of God, 62nd Council Gathering, Mount Tables Inspiration, Bahamas Foot and Ankle on Blake Road. Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, Rocky Farms Nursery, Water and Sewage, Ministry of Tourism, Echo Water. Commonwealth Buying, Cool Tech, the Echo Experts. Bahamian Beer and Beverages, Super Wash, open 24/7. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric Motors, Dodge and Wolf Road. Executive Printers on Jerome Avenue, and the McKinney Media Group Limited. Advertisement and public relations experts. Come by, see us, we'll get it done. Promise. Well, no one has been able to tell me exactly, definitively, what we should do. We believe that the people want it done, that this thing should be canceled. Isn't that easy? I don't think it is. Will Carl Bethel get this information from the unsealed deal soon? We'll see. Keep it before you. Don't go to sleep on it. And remember, these things that must be done immediately without prejudice. That's just the way it is. Tomorrow then on the show, 5 o'clock. If it's 5 o'clock, it will be Hard Copy. And tomorrow's Friday, the Friday tradition. It rolls along. Right here on 5 o'clock tomorrow. Good night from Hard Copy. God willing. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is Peace Radio After Dark.